Now, we need to find out how we can get involved now that the election is over. And our first person is going to come up with Greg Clements, and he's going to talk about trustee, running for trustee. So, Greg?
Thank you, Marcia. As Marcia mentioned, my name is Greg Clements. I've been with this group since about December of last year. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Janelle and Tony for starting this group and giving us this forum. I wouldn't be up here right now. I wouldn't be doing the things that I'm doing. I wouldn't have been as involved in the elections without this forum. So it's a really great thing. So what I'm going to talk to you about is running for trustee. And we call it running because I'm not a trustee yet, so I can't tell you about being a trustee. But I'll tell you what, the reason I am running for trustee, and Janelle talked about what the next step is, and getting involved in local government is one of the big next steps, one of the things that we need to do. And there's going to be some other folks this evening that are going to talk to you about other ways, other local races. There are almost 500 local positions available in Lake County alone. So if you think that there is not an opportunity, or you do not know how, or you think there's going to be a lot of competition, think again. Now there are people in some of those positions. The race I'm in is contested, but those people are up for re-election, and there are a lot of opportunities. There's opportunities on school boards, trustees in many of the villages, mayors, all kinds of positions. So there's a website. I don't have it on a slide or anything, but we talked about voter power for understanding what precinct you're in. We talked about that prior to the election. There's a similar site called Candidate Power, and that is on the same. It's on the.
Yeah, I was just going to say what it is. It's www.lakecandidatepower.info.
It's on our website.
It is, yeah. There's a link to it from our site, but it has, and it's called 2011 Positions Up for Election. So you'll see it on there, and it's a PDF. It's a list you can print out, and you will be amazed at how many positions there are available. Trustee is just one of them. So the village that I'm running for is Round Lake. All right, and the reason I am doing it, it's interesting because again, I have to attribute this group for that, because I'm currently a precinct committeeman, and for those of you who may remember, I came up and gave a talk about becoming a precinct committeeman. So I have no shyness about coming up and talking about things I'm not an expert on. But but in this case, being a precinct committeeman, one of the things you have to do is distribute literature, and one of the things that is recommended with that is putting a letter in there from yourself and introducing yourself to your precinct and stating your values. So I did that. So as I was distributing my literature, one of the homes that I found out was in my precinct was one of the existing trustees for Round Lake. They read the letter, and they liked it, because in the letter I said, not only, I am a Republican, but I'm a Tea Party patriot first, and I stated the values. And that's what they liked. They called me, talked to me, and said, hey, we like these values, and they invited me to a meeting, and then eventually they made their pitch, asked me to run. So I was actually recruited based on my values, and that's the key. That's what we need to bring to these local offices. It's not a lot of experience. If you think you have to have a lot of government experience to be in a local position, the answer is no. That's not what they're looking for. There are the two trustees that approached me are, there's 6 trustees total in Round Lake, and the 2 that approached me are conservative, and they're outnumbered by the other 4. And so what they're trying to do is bring more support, bring more conservative values, even at the local level. So up to this point, we've talked a lot about, and what brought a lot of you here is the outrage and the abuses of power and the disconnect at the state and federal level. But let me tell you, that's going on at the local level as well. If you start going to your school board meetings, if you start going to your village meetings, you will see that. I just started going, I've been in Round Lake for 5 years, and I really hadn't been paying attention. My focus had always been at the state level, the county level, the federal level. And after talking to these folks, I started going to the meetings, and I saw you see the same problem. You've got your trustees up there, and they're in their nice, big, comfy chairs in a nice, fancy new building, by the way, that Round Lake, we paid $800,000 for this fancy building for the mayor and for trustees. And guess how often trustees meet?
Once a month.
Twice a month. Twice a month. $800,000 building for that. So, but that's another story. But you see that. You see them up there, and you see all the heads from the departments that want money. And you've got the police chief, the fire chief, the building maintenance guy. They're all up there asking for money, and the trustees are there, and they want to be helpful. They want to be seen like they're providing for their community. So they're saying yes to everything. And they're saying yes to spending increases. So while I was there on Monday, they talked about building in automatic increases in the garbage collection because they didn't want to review it every year.
Wow.
They said, it doesn't make sense to review this every year. We approve it anyway, so let's just build it into the contract.
Wow.
So that's the kind of thing that is going on at the local level. You don't notice it. You may read about it in your local papers, but unless you go there, you don't see it. So my point is, there's a tremendous opportunity for bringing our values to those offices. Okay? So that's all I want to say tonight. I don't have any, again, I was asked to do this, but it's very easy to go out there and find out what offices are available and then contact somebody from Willard's office, and they will be glad to help you, steer you in who you have to contact. Yes, Harold.
For an alderman or trustee position, you most often only need like 25 signatures on the petition. If you're going to run as a Republican, you have to make sure that they've taken a Republican primary ballot, or they don't have any history of voting in a primary. You do, obviously, if you're going to run as a Republican, you don't want to ask a Democrat to sign your petition unless that's the only people that exist in your ward. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Harold. That's a good point. For my particular position, 88 signatures required, but we are running, there's actually 3 of us that are running as a slate, which I would strongly recommend, and between the 3 of us, that is not a problem. Yes, sir.
Do you run it large in Round Lake? Why so many signatures? Or is it divided up into wards?
No, you run it large.
Oh, that's why the
Yes.
higher number of signatures.
Higher number, yeah. So different offices, to Harold's point, different offices require different numbers of signatures, but really that's all it takes. There's a petition, you go out and you talk, and if you've walked your precinct for any one of the candidates, you're just doing it again. Same thing, walk around, ask for signatures, and most people will be willing to give you those. I only had one lady say she wouldn't sign anything. And that was probably just a general statement. She wasn't signing anything for anybody. So, yes.
Get the voter list and make sure that the people that are signing it are registered voters. Otherwise,
Yes.
it'll be heartbreak for you when you get thrown off the ballot because you have a bunch of invalid signatures.
Yes.
How do you make sure?
Well, you get your voter list, precinct list from the county,
Yes.
Okay.
and it'll show all the registered voters on there.
Yes. So,
By address.
yes. Yes, sir.
I'd like to tell you just a little story. I think that might relate to this group in this last election. Many years ago, I was teaching down in Cahokia, and I was helping my friend build a new home. And we did not have a restroom at that time. But the neighbor was very graciously told us we could use his swimming pool restroom. Well, taking care of your kidneys, I shot over there, but on the way, his rat terrier came out and he bit me. I didn't have to go to the bathroom as bad as I thought I would. And anyway, I finally got a little stick and got rid of that rat terrier. But the moral of the story is that rat terrier knew his territory. That's one of the things that Obama and his crew, they did not know the territory. And I think we're beginning to know the territory. So the next time that I went to the bathroom, I gave that dog a wide berth. So that dog brought this little story to my attention.
Great.
Thank you very much.
We got to know the territory. And Abe Lincoln, in his Gettysburg Address, one of the last parts of it, he said, it's not what we say here, it's what we do here.